What advice would you give deaf children about college and education?
Oh, honestly, really, it doesn't matter if you want to be mainstream or you want to go into a deaf only class. Personally, I prefer mainstream because it's a little bit harder. It might be the hard way, but later on it makes it easier. If you take the easy way at the beginning, then it helps you get lazy, and that will not help you later on. Um, Deaf children need to learn how to communicate with through and with interpreters and then also teachers because someday, let's say, okay, example, you got a deaf child, they're taking only deaf ed classes the whole way. They get out into the real world. How are they going to communicate? Okay, now I'm surrounded by hearing people. How do I get an interpreter? What do I do with an interpreter? How am I going to communicate? It's very awkward and it's a harder lesson there. If you're learning it all along, you have an interpreter, you're in the mainstream, you kind of understand what college is going to look like. You know, you're there in elementary, middle, you know, you're already learning those lessons along the way. Mainstream, I believe, is better because there's so much knowledge there that you're learning as opposed to a deaf classroom, which is good for...
Socializing.
Yeah, exactly. Socializing, yeah. Which I see many deaf who take advantage of the deaf class just to be social. They're not focusing on studies. Whereas in a hearing class, they are more focused because they can't socialize with everybody. You know what I mean? First, please don't misunderstand me or see me as broken. I have only lost my hearing, and that's it. That's it. That's the only thing that I don't have. I am still capable of working. As a chef, especially, it's really hard because there's hearing people everywhere. I'm communicating with them. I can speak some. I'm not skilled necessarily. Like, I can't say everything all the time, but, you know, I have found a way to work with my coworkers, and I am willing to teach those who are willing to listen and learn as well. So, like, I can teach prep. I can, you know, how to prep food and all that. Like, I can do all those things because I was in the mainstream classes. I learned that early on. If you want to learn deaf culture, please come on, you know, talk to me. It take time, but don't just immediately look at a deaf person and think, okay, that person's stupid, because you have to understand that sometimes some of those deaf people that you're seeing don't have a regular education, which means that maybe they fail to understand the teacher, or the teacher didn't teach them things yet. Like, there's so many different situations that could have happened previously. So right now I am working as a chef, and I really do enjoy it. I enjoy the work. I learning about food and cooking. It's just fascinating. But is that my ultimate goal? No. Honestly, I want to go back to school. I want to go back to college. I want to finish my degree, and I want to become a programmer. I want to be able to develop apps and that can help the deaf community better. But America is the best due to the ADA. That is something that has really helped the deaf community the most. Because when you look at Arabic countries, you know, in Iraq, they don't have that. They don't have anything like that. So deaf people don't have a life. It's really hard to find a job. But here, we are fortunate. There are so many options. We are blessed by God here. You know, just to have so many different things that we can do. We've got education, not just for hearing people, for deaf people too. You know, people are willing to help the deaf people here. Like, hey, you know, let's pick up sign, you know, so we can talk to people who are deaf, or, you know, be able to find a job so we can show hearing people what to do, or show them that we can do exactly what they can do, that we're not just lazy, you know, that we as a people are not lazy, you know, we get up, we do things, we can be successful, and that they notice that even though we are deaf, we are not broken. Deaf are capable of doing anything. So that's just really cool.